Good morning, folks. Mike Bertinoli, Planning Operations Trainee from Great Basin Team 3. Give you an operational update for the Monroe Canyon Fire, July 26th. Before I dive into the briefing, obviously folks were looking up on the hill yesterday afternoon, and we had considerable fire activity that has changed our fire environment. Weather, fuels, conditions came together to really just come together to create the type of event that as firefighters we may see rarely 10 to 15 times in our career. So with that, as we move into today's operational shift, we're looking again at a different fire environment, and we're going to get in and assess impacts that occurred last night to various parts of the fire. So I'll talk about that as I go around. But before I jump into our operational map, I just wanted to highlight this is a product that we look at to show growth when we don't have it aerially mapped. And so if I zoom into this, you see our old fire perimeter here on the southwest area that we've been working for the last 12 days. And then to the northeast here is an approximation of what growth looked like yesterday afternoon. So until we get infrared detections on what our fire looks like, it's going to be hard to really dial in that perimeter, but we'll get a much better assessment of that as we go in today's shift. So with that, let me jump to the ops map. So I'm going to start as I do, going around the horn, Division Alpha. That's that southwest side of the fire. And the western edge of our fire looked pretty good yesterday. We do have a bit of fire down here in Monkey Flat Ridge, and that's quartering down towards Monroe Meadows Reservoir. But for all intents and purposes, this area of the fire is looking pretty good. We see it backing down towards Monroe Meadows, towards the Marysvale Peak fire from 2005. We anticipate that'll slow that fire until firefighters can get in and engage south of there near what we call drop point 62, just at the base of the reservoir. Moving to the north, we continue to develop containment line down towards Hunts Lake. We've done indirect line out to the west to capture any fire that may move off the slope. All right, so let's talk just briefly. Yesterday in Monroe Canyon, this is where you saw our fire propagate yesterday afternoon and become the column that everybody saw from town. Fire's been backing in this country that, again, it's so steep we can't put folks in there to work. And so it's been backing down towards Monroe Creek day after day. Well, our atmospheric conditions yesterday, our RHs were so low that everything backed down into it. And near this Oscar's Vision confluence with Jackass Creek and Doxford Creek, that fire spotted across the creek, came together and made a very, very significant push to the north. That was the energy that you saw build up into that giant column. As that was occurring, our firefighters were out east of that doing a backfiring operation. And what we were doing was trying to take the punch out of this fire that existed west of us. This fire had so much energy that it just lifted, moved north, and then as you saw into the evening hours, when that fire settled back down, we got significant winds from the north that just kind of pushed fire in all directions. And so that's, on that earlier map I showed you, that was that big red mass of growth. So, as we sit here in Division Mike, we do know that we had impacts to that Magobee community last night. Our first order of business today is to safely get into there and start to assess the new fire perimeter that we have in that area. As you move down into Division Whiskey, operations held pretty well in there. In fact, we got new containment here near the Monroe Meadows structures. We did a burn operation the previous shift here along Coucher and Pasture Road. That held pretty well for us. So fairly good news from Monroe Meadows south to Monroe Meadows. We developed a bit of new black line out here to the east, and so containment does continue around the southwestern portion of this fire. But as I've said, here out to the northeast, where we've put all our structure protection efforts into all these little communities, Magleby, Porters, Long Flat, over the coming 24 to 48 hours, it is 100% time for us to engage those structure protection strategies. Our firefighters are vigilantly up there, ready to capture that fire and do the best we can to slow the progression of that fire if we can, but more importantly, get around those structures and keep them protected. But our number one priority is to keep our firefighters safe. And I can say definitively, the success of last night was that all of our firefighters came out of that safely. Thanks, folks. A lot going on this fire right now. I'll talk to you tomorrow.